Earlier this month, a patient in Australia with heart failure underwent a heart transplant surgery. Previously, he had been kept alive by an artificial heart for 100 days, the longest someone has survived on an artificial heart to date, and was discharged from the hospital. The news was released by St. Vincent's Hospital in Australia, Monash University, and the Australian-American company Biovaca. The patient is a man in his 40s, but the hospital didn't disclose his identity details. He received the artificial heart transplant last November and had been waiting for a human heart transplant, during which time he was able to go home to recuperate. The main body of the artificial heart is made of titanium and appears to be several tubes joined together, containing a rotor to pump blood. The artificial heart is connected by a wire to a controller, which can be powered by batteries during the day and plugged into the mains at night. Biovaca stated that previous artificial heart attachments were more prone to damage, but this model only has one moving part, hopefully reducing mechanical failures. Including this recent recipient, there are now 6 patients globally who have had their lives extended by artificial hearts. The research team hopes the technology can progress further, potentially even replacing human heart transplants, as transplant recipients need to take anti-rejection drugs, and only 15% of cases survive more than 10 years after surgery. If artificial hearts can perform better, it would be a blessing for patients. This surgery was the first transplant in Monash University's $50 million Australian Artificial Heart Frontiers program to develop 3 devices for treating heart failure and bring them to market. When it comes to advanced medical care, Hong Kong certainly does not want to fall behind. Last year, the Li Ka-shing Foundation donated a cancer-fighting wonder machine called a histotripsy device to the Chinese Universities Hospital, Hong Kong Sanatorium and Hospital, both private hospitals, and Queen Mary Hospital, a public hospital and a teaching hospital of the University of Hong Kong. Histotripsy earned this reputation because it reduces harm, sending focused ultrasound waves from outside the patient's body into the cancer cells, creating vibrations. These vibrations then form numerous tiny bubbles that expand and explode repeatedly, pulverizing the cancerous tissue without damaging surrounding tissues. Histotripsy treatment requires no chemicals or surgery, completely different from traditional therapies that cause damage, reducing patient suffering and side effects. Originally, a histotripsy device was installed at Queen Mary Hospital, giving ordinary citizens the prospect of receiving excellent treatment in public healthcare system. However, the device has now been moved to the private Gleneagles Hospital, Hong Kong. Why? Compiling information from various sources and industry insiders' analysis, there is no definitive answer, but it is reasonable to deduce that the government believes it needs to consider expenses and wait for more clinical data before deciding whether to introduce the device into the public healthcare system, an extraordinarily cautious stance. So we need to examine whether the 2 factors fail to convince the government. First is the expense. There is no public available data yet on the maintenance cost of the histotripsy device, referring to other ultrasound machines' maintenance fees of $10,000 to $50,000 per year. And assuming histotripsy is a new technology with higher costs, is it really an exorbitant expense? The hospital authorities should be able to answer this, but they have not provided complete data. Then we need to look at the clinical trial results. In its response to Radio Free Asia, Queen Mary Hospital stated that since September last year, it has provided histotripsy treatment procedures to 40 patients. According to standard clinical trial practices, the research team shall conduct long-term post-operative observation, collect data, and write a report for publication in international journals. Considering the Australian artificial heart and the Hong Kong histotripsy cases together, How one judges them is up to the individual. Does this represent excessive bureaucracy in Hong Kong's public healthcare system? I will emulate their cautious attitude and say, not necessarily. When adopting new technologies and devices, the risks and benefits cannot be determined for certain. To safeguard patients' interests and ensure public resources are properly utilized, temporarily not introducing such technologies does not mean they will never be introduced. This explanation seems sufficiently pragmatic and justifiable, doesn't it? However, on the other hand, questionable infrastructure projects are carried out. A bloated senior civil service structure is maintained, with no intention of change even when $100 billion deficits are evident. This contradicts the stated principles of thoroughly investigating clinical results and prudently deploying resources. Li Ka-shing's company, C.K. Hutchison, recently agreed to sell the Panama Canal ports to Blackstone, a deal praised as well-timed by the financial sector. The Chinese state-run Tai Kung Pao newspaper in Hong Kong reprimands it, but it's pointless from a business perspective. The key difference between business people and bureaucrats is that business people must take the initiative and cannot wait for 100% assurance before acting. Li Ka-shing once said, his business secret is to always expect the worst and be fully prepared. He acts in a flash when the timing is right. Others know what he has done only after everything is settled. Bygones are bygones. Any insults from bystanders afterwards are irrelevant to what has already occurred. If you have any idea or like this video, please comment, like, subscribe and share. I'll be grateful if you become a member on Patreon, making us go even further. See you on the next video.